A little bit more British and Irish Pro Cup action to be had. We head down to the lower bracket in the round. For the first time this evening, the threat of elimination from the top 32 hangs over the heads of our players.
Yes, it does. Is it bottom 2 drop out?
Bottom 2 drop out?
It's close. Predictions.
Should be said, though, the players who do drop out of this top 32 here today, in this week, will go to prospects. From this point on in the lower bracket, players will not go to prospects, but the players that lose in this match will still be playing in the British and Irish Pro Cup in some capacity.
Yeah. I am going to give a prediction, which is, I think, Idoless and Sean make it. I think Louis and Monochrome drop out. But that is a tentative prediction, because I kind of put all 4 of these players very much on the same page, in the same ballpark, whatever you want to call it figuratively. They're very closely matched in terms of skill, pace, consistency, anything really. So that is my prediction. Still, I'm not gonna move on that. But yeah, it could be a completely different story.
Yeah, could be close. I mean, we do have to note that Louis is coming in, having gotten a 3rd seed in the upper bracket there as well. You know, did manage to overtake, despite being the lowest seed in his match, beat out Coops in that match to take a 3rd seed away. Monochrome Ocean and Shawnee both coming in with their 4th seed in their match, not able to take anything away from the bottom end of that one. But it is an entirely new match here. It's entirely new opponents. There's unlikely to be someone completely running away with things, I think, at the top of any of these lower bracket matches. Things start to get much more evenly matched over the course of the entire tournament now. After the first round kind of ends, that's where we have the biggest spread of seeds in any given match.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can highlight some of the other lower bracket matches as well. We have Sox, Floyd, OC, and Nioruku. I personally would go for Sox and Floyd there. Then in match 3, we've got Matt P, Matt P, the battle of the mats.
We decided not to cast that one. That could have gone very poorly for us.
Wait, what happened?
We're just trying to differentiate Matt T and Matt P in every round.
Yeah.
It just feels like it'd be very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Kinch and Coops in that match, and then Babs, Charged, Killjoy, and VidCube. That's a pretty stacked matchup, actually, for that last
first
one.
round.
Holy
Lower bracket.
Anyway.
Tough. Admin match, you love to see it. Admin on admin violence is always a great time. We'll see how that one goes. We'll try and catch up with some scores as we head on with this one. Of course, all upper bracket matches done for now. Players who won up there locked in. We'll be seeing them in the top 16 next weekend. But for now, we're off to a start here. It is a different order than we did in the upper bracket, and that means starting on Candy Crush, which has already caused some minor problems for Idoless. He's not sitting too far down at the moment, and in fact, will come roaring back through with plenty of speed, looking for a 2nd place finish. Overtakes Monochrome towards the end. Everyone will make it into the finish, with the exception, it looks like, of Seanywolf, who will be crossing the safe finish for a -10 in round 1. Clean round from Louis up at the top, though.
I didn't know you possessed that power of saying a player's name and them suddenly appearing.
I have the speed boost button. It's like Formula E, you know, where viewers could vote for a driver to give a power boost to. It's just me. I have that power.
Well, ComradeLouis definitely has the power, driving a 57.3 to start off this round. I feel like the pace, ultimate pace of the winning rounds. What am I trying to say? The time that wins the rounds will be slower, is what I'm trying to say, and Monochrome will be crashing into the hole. Mime has a habit of using these hole blocks in his maps. We saw one in BIPL, which was even more punishing than that one, as Seanywolf goes fully into the side of the wall there. That is an enormous crash. ComradeLouis out front, Idoless having a better run of things so far. Is he going to hold on to this gear as well? I believe so. Goes round the outside, but ComradeLouis, look at the pace. What time is this going to be? 57.2, a 10th faster than the last round. Great times.
Yeah, it's clearly been putting in the work. That's 2 wins, 2 rounds, and Seanywolf with a crash on the finish line. It's just a slow roll across the safe finish instead. Does get in before the timeout timer ends up ticking down, but that is just the same finishing order. 2 rounds in a row. Very clean, very consistent from all of our players, even if some of them would like to shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, not the best start from Sean. I was expecting a little bit more from him in this match as he goes full tight there, almost making contact with the wall on the inside, but is going to have a strong start to this round. Monochrome lagging behind. All 3 good focus players, actually, I will highlight as well. So it is the battle of the teammates here. Sean with a big slowdown there. I'm not quite sure how physics determined that one should slow him down by that much, but it has. And Monochrome promoted to 3rd place as a result. Idoless having a much better round here. I think that's kind of what I was seeing from Idoless in the round server. Sometimes he wouldn't be as fast, but then he would have one round or a couple of rounds every now and then where he would just set an absolutely blistering time. But another crash again leaves ComradeLouis all the way out front. Monochrome in 2nd, Louis driving a 57.3. Good pace from ComradeLouis so far. 57.3, 57.2, 57.3. Does show that he's well practiced in rounds and probably just has head down, driving his own time, driving the safe lines, avoiding the crashes, and ultimately so far he's only lost 3 points.
Yep, perfect match so far for ComradeLouis, and we finally get a switch up in the order as well. Sean and Idoless will swap places, but it does mean both of them are now sitting a little bit further down, as Monochrome Ocean is just a single point ahead of Idoless off the back of that round 2. And it's a little bit of a slow start here for Monochrome Ocean. Will be on the chase once again. Those 3 good focus players get out in formation to the front, and this time around we'll see if they can hold it. There were some minor issues with walls in the middle of the track last time around for them. Looks like this time they are staying safe for the moment. And while mine may have only put a single hole block in, he does put another hole here that you can definitely catch a wheel in if you're not careful, or slide into a pole trying to avoid. Everyone keeps it clean this time, but Shawnee will touch a wall on the way on the uphill dirt. And Monochrome Ocean just keeping it clean through the middle of the map has been enough to gain back 1 place, and it may be enough for more yet.
Yeah, Monochrome's midsection looks very consistent. I think that was the same could be said for me as well. Like the start drifts and getting that start clean does present a problem. Monochrome having to go for the safe finish there and does still finish in front of Sean. But yeah, the middle part of this track is pretty okay to drive. It is just the start and that finish that can present problems. Also holding the gears as well, slight clips on the outside of the dirt. It can present problems, but Monochrome seems to be pretty comfortable with the more kind of vanilla elements of this map.
And if the starts to look a little bit better then for Monochrome, you got to be worried maybe for the other players in the match. Could look to push it, but that sausage block has once again dropped Monochrome a little bit behind the good focus players, even though there was a slightly cleaner start this time around. And well, there's a full mistake coming through, and now sitting over a second behind will be Monochrome. A full 1.5 seconds it looks like there. I tell a lie, Idoless is still in front there, and ComradeLouis is leading the way, and things have gotten very messy very quickly there, Orion.
Yeah, they have lots of players making mistakes, except for ComradeLouis, honestly, has really surprised me at how dominant he's been on Candy Crush. And he might have a clean sweep of victories here, as we see someone sent to the moon by that plastic bounce. Idol is promoted into 2nd, but what time is this going to be from Louis? Actually going safe finish, and still manages to get 1st over Idoless. So a perfect run for Louis in map 1. Drives a slightly slower time. I mean, he went safe finish actually, and only finished 7/10 behind what he was driving. So God knows what that time could have been had he gone for the risky. But all players seeming to be a little bit spread out. I think we saw most players finishing in kind of the same position each round. So it's not perhaps as close as we would have thought. And going on to, I believe, is it frame shift now? Is it in the order that the maps
we're on
are?
to Hoga.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Directly. Which does mean that, you know, even if a match in the lower bracket is very close, even if it does go all the way through the cycle of maps and on the second time around manages to get to a second map, it just remains very difficult. Candy Crush and Hoga will be the deciding maps in this loser's bracket no matter what, which is I mean, hey, that's rough, buddy. That's just a
Yeah.
tough time down
Well,
here.
I mean, if frame shift and poles are your favorite maps, then yeah.
You could get eliminated before
Unlucky.
ever seeing polls. In both
Unlucky.
polls as the polls as the fourth map in both upper and losers bracket does mean that it is possible to get eliminated from a match before ever seeing polls in both brackets, with the minimum number of maps rounds needed to eliminate a player being 11, and that would be the first round on the third map. But I mean, look, you'd be surprised if you saw a player manage to get 10th place 10 times in a row, 11 times in a row. Then
Mate,
ultimately,
trust me, I'd be capable if I
Well,
played.
yeah, but-
If I had played that first match against Boz Crisp Socks, yeah, I'd have been capable. Trust me.
We'll have to double check exactly how Killjoy did in that one. And,
Yeah.
find out exactly how many rounds it ended up being that time around. But we won't see it in this match anyway, for sure. We might see the perfect match. ComradeLouis looking incredibly strong on Candy Crush. The question is, will it be the same on Hoga here? It is a very different map, but if ComradeLouis can just keep it calm, keep it cool, has built a very strong lead already.
As Monochrome, maybe with a slight touch, or just had to full release and is going to be over a second behind after that engine off section. As all three good focus players, a bit more tightly bunched than we saw on Candy Crush, and we've got through one of the hardest parts of the map. The other part is right at the end. It feels like Hoga is like a sandwich of like difficulty, if you know what I mean. You've got a nice, easy flowing part in the middle, and then at each end, you just have a loaf of bread that is designed to kill you.
A loaf of stale bread as the full 2 slices on either side. Seanywolf will have a bit of a crash. An incident there means Monochrome Ocean up into 3rd place, and that's a touch from Idoless, and that means Monochrome Ocean up into 2nd place if he manages to hit the finish, which he finally will. Idoless somehow still finishes in 2nd place, and Seanywolf will crawl uphill to finally get across this finish line in 4th, and that was messy.
I can confirm that that is the most depressing way to finish a map. If you're
I appreciate that Idoless has apologized to everyone for that.
Oh yeah, because if you touch the wall and then take the checkpoint, you literally have to double, and you've already like committed to going on to that outside. You have to double respawn, drive over the slow-mo block, and that's a face full of wall there from Idoless. I think one player that I want to highlight here is Monochrome, right? He's making the least amount of mistakes, but he is the slowest on pace, I feel.
Yeah.
So,
I think basically at the start of both Candy Crush and now here on Hoga as well, just on pure pace with no mistakes made, we are seeing Monochrome end up kind of 4/10 to half second behind the lead every time.
Yeah. But mistakes are being made by Sean, Idol, not Louis as much, but Monochrome is just kind of doing his own thing, driving the times that he knows he can. And when those mistakes do come through, he just picks up the pieces. Like, he's finished 3rd here, despite being 4-5 tenths off the lead.
Louis didn't win a round. Incredible stuff up at the top of the table. What a massive switch up. He might even at some point drop below 90 points as everyone else gets down to about half their starting total. ComradeLouis yet to lose a 10th of it. Very impressive stuff so far. And you're absolutely right. Monochrome, we are seeing once again there, it's a slow first couple of turns, but there is an immediate mistake. And so immediately rewarded for taking it safe, playing it slow, and keeping it calm. Is there going to be any more mistakes here? Not quite just yet. But Monochrome Ocean straight back into it anyway. And you're right. It's a playstyle that works. It's one we talked about a bit between the matches and during the last match. Charged was doing something very similar in that upper bracket. It ultimately didn't quite pay off because the problem is you're kind of leaving your destiny in your opponent's hands a little bit, right? You're trusting them to not clean it up at all.
Yeah, you are a little bit, but I mean, so far it's tried and tested. He's going to be in 3rd place again here, unless Idol makes a mistake. He is pushing, though, and has got a bit more speed and a better line for this outside drift. Is he going to be able to hold it here? Nice drift there. Should be able to hold the speed. Idoless has a little bit more. Doesn't clip the inside as well, and does promote up into 2nd. So I think Monochrome is definitely... he's a dark horse for 2nd, right? At first, at this point, seems... done and dusted. Louis is driving phenomenally, and he's still above 90 points after 8 rounds. But it's going to be the second place spot that matters here. Obviously, 2 players get eliminated, 2 players stay up. So I feel like at this point we can almost ignore Louis unless he has an absolute nightmare on frame shift and poles. But those 2 being the easier of the 4 maps, I would say that probably wouldn't be the case. Although we finally see Monochrome making a mistake, and it's just the 3 good focused players left. Louis once again in front by a couple of tenths, but Sean really needs to capitalize here. He's currently on 37 points, trailing by a considerable margin. So a second place for Sean here would really do wonders for him, but the lines just don't quite look as clean as Idol or Louis at the moment.
That was nervy around the inside of that turn, got very close to the wall on entry, and then kind of readjusting twice on the way through to make sure that he wasn't clipping as he followed. But that's a big no slide from Idoless, and that means the opening is there for Seanywolf. He's through into second place, cannot afford a mistake on the finish line now. This would be important. Louis just cruises to another first, of course he does. Sean will take the second place, and Idoless will finally take third. Monochrome was getting closer, but not close enough to snipe it away after the early mistake.
Yeah, early mistake from Monochrome, and I think if you do make a mistake in the early part of this map, that is it. You are consigned to 4th place, really, because you've still got the whole map to contend with, plus potentially missing the finish, which I think Monochrome did do on that occasion as well, and wasn't able to capitalize on Idoless going for that painfully slow, safe finish. So currently the scores, ComradeLouis, 89 points, looking absolutely supreme. Sean on 34. Idoless on 53. Sean on 30. Monochrome on 44. Do the maths, Dan. Monochrome on 44. And Sean on 34. So 10-point splits, roughly, between each player at the moment. Sean, though, way down at the back on this round. I don't know quite what happened to him, but he is not going to be playing any part in the top 3. But we go on board with the top 2. As Idoless having arguably his best round so far on this map, or on any map, really, because ComradeLouis has looked in fine form, but is Idoless going to get the win here? That's a much better drift from Louis, but Idoless just needs to make this finish now, and does so. Takes a round win. Monochrome misses the finish and has to respawn, but Sean far enough behind. Might even DNF here, Sean.
I don't think there's enough time.
I think he's gonna... Never mind.
No.
Oh,
no. Oh,
hey, he
huge. -10 either way, but hey, at least you get across the line, right? Feels pretty good on that one. And ComradeLouis will, for the second time this match, across 2 maps and 10 rounds of play, not lose a single point. Instead, he has lost 3, and that means a total point loss so far for ComradeLouis of 14. It's just really quick, and I think scariest of all, from what I can see, frame shift may have been his best map in both time attack and in rounds. So,
well, yeah,
I don't know if it's going to get a lot better from here on out.
I can only apologize. I just was, I wasn't familiar with your game, Louis. Actually, Giga Chad vibes. I remember seeing this as well. It was BIPL week 1 in Division 2 where we watched Roy, and he just absolutely decimated everyone. Like, it was crazy. We were thinking, like, oh yeah, these guys are Div 2. They're not as good as the Div 1 players. They'll be inconsistent, blah, blah, blah. But Roy showed up, and Louis is doing exactly the same here. He's lost how many points so far? 12? 13?
14. A total of 14 points.
14 points.
Two second places. 10 rounds. No, 2 second places and 8 wins. Just as you say, madness. Genuinely impressive. You know, as much as we were kind of talking about maybe shifting your mentality, I think before this match, and for some players coming to lower bracket, I think part of what we're seeing as well is that some players do really well when they're an underdog. Some players do really well when they're in a position where they are kind of coming in from a position of strength. And I think Louis looks to be coming in a position where he can drive fast times, and he's just maybe taking the foot off a little bit and choosing to drive more consistently than going for PBs. And when he's in a position where he could be beating people with solid times, he's just an absolute machine right now. And maybe that was an issue in the upper bracket when he was having to push and trying to catch players. You know, some players are much more comfortable in that underdog position than it looks like Louis might have been.
Well, this map, in my opinion, as a non-tech Andy, is probably the easiest. You do have to hold some pretty difficult outside dirt gears, but even if you drop them, it only costs you a couple of tenths, so it's not essential. It's favorable, but non-essential, as Idoless takes a very tight line on the grass there, but it does work out for him. And it's Louis and Idoless up the front. Anyone going to touch this outside wall? Yes, and his name is Seanywolf, and he is now overtaken by Monochrome Ocean. So we go into the last section where a lot can be gained and lost here. You can really risk and push that inside over the plastic uphill, and then keeping that gear and full sending towards the finish can gain you 0.2, 0.3 at the end as well. It's Louis finishing with a 0.2 in first place once again. Idol second, Monochrome third, Sean in fourth, and Sean is getting perilously close to losing all of his points and ending up on that last chance mode.
Yep, looking like we may see our first elimination here on track 3. Seanywolf may not even get to see poles in this match. You hate to see it. Could be very tough, but there is still time to be driven here. There is still a match to be played. Monochrome Ocean once again starting off in 4th place and just waiting for that mistake from someone else in front. And the issue for the other players is they have been coming through if your name isn't ComradeLouis.
Yeah, Sean having to release there, and it's compromised his line slightly. We'll get a wider exit and more speed, but once again we see a very similar situation with Idol, Louis, and Sean not touching the wall this time. We'll see if Sean is able to push the end. He seems to be losing a little bit of speed, but gaps remaining pretty similar at the moment. Last turn doesn't seem to be changing any places either. 1, 2, 3. Same order as last time for the first two. Louis in first, Idol second. Sean, a much needed third place over Monochrome, and he really needs to try and wear Monochrome down here. Monochrome's on 22 at the moment. Sean is one last place away from last chance, so mistakes need to be 0 now from Sean, and he needs to try and capitalize on any from his opponents as well.
Yeah, and looking to the future on this, if Monochrome either does manage to make the comeback happen, manage to stay here in the lower bracket of main event of British and Irish Professional Cup 2, or even looking at prospects, Monochrome has been good on these maps. Has not lost time to the lead most of the time on the rest of the map, but is just consistently on pretty much every map, as that's a big crash, losing 3/10 or 4/10. And that means if you're up against Monochrome in the coming weeks, if Monochrome gets a bit of time to practice the starts of these maps and isn't immediately losing 3 or 4/10 in the first 3 turns every time, all of a sudden Monochrome is going to be posting some much more competitive times, and he's going to be a genuine contender in rounds formats as well, because has looked very, very solid in terms of not making mistakes, in terms of just staying consistent. It's not quite working out so far, and part of that does just come down to, yeah, the slow starts have been there. It has been relatively difficult then for Monochrome Ocean to catch back up, and they will now be sitting very, very close to finalist mode, to last chance themselves. But it is Seanywolf who enters it first. It was a big crash in the middle of that round, and it's last chance for Seanywolf to try and stay alive.
Yeah, I think the thing with the starts is all of these maps kind of have their big kind of showpiece, high risk, high reward at the start of the maps.
Yeah.
So if Monochrome is driving the way he is, which is just trying to be slightly slower than the pace that he could be driving, but staying consistent, then that's where he is ultimately losing the time. Throughout the rest of the map, it's a lot easier to stay consistent and drive a little bit faster and take a few more risks. So I think that's probably it. I mean, you think of maps like Hoga and Candy Crush, that first section and up to the drift as well on both maps, that is where you can kind of gain or lose, I would say, up to like 0.8, to be honest. So if Monochrome is kind of full safing those sections, that's where the time loss is. But ultimately, he is just picking up the pieces when other players crash and yeah, just taking those positions away. He has bonked the wall himself a little bit. It might have to go for the safe in. It is going to have to go for the safe in, and finishes in last place. Sean there with a much better round, driving a 56.4. Only loses 3 points. Well, loses 3 points. Does not
Forces
lose.
Idoless down a little bit lower as well.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
If you're Seanywolf right now, obviously eyes are on Monochrome Ocean, trying to maybe beat them up into 3rd place. But if you want to make it into top 2 and stay in main event here, you do have to start stripping some of Idoless's points away as well. So taking the highest finish possible for Seanywolf, still important, and it worked out that time around. I mean, ComradeLouis continues to simply not lose points through sheer willpower, I think, at this point. It's just strength, force of personality. ComradeLouis has just decided that he's not going to lose points and is just not losing points.
He's on
that easy.
82. 82 points. And we've played almost 15 rounds. What is this guy made of?
He's gonna.
It's
it's all over.
Oh no!
May finish outside the top 2 for the first round yet in this one, but still, Seanywolf is drifting back a little bit here, and ComradeLouis is on the inside, and Seanywolf, a last place finish, would drop him out here, close to the finish line, and it's a very close finish at the top. 2 tenths separating everyone. ComradeLouis loses 10 points. Oof.
It's all over for him. It's over.
I never thought I'd say it. Like, he loses every round between here now and the end. Time to retire, I think.
Yep. Well, we are going to see polls. All 4 players are going to see polls. Would you believe it?
Slightly surprised, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely. I was not convinced that this was going to happen, but Seanywolf does make it this far. Do we have any idea how he has performed on this map over the course of everything?
Well, you're going to tell me in a minute.
It was the one that he performed worst on, but not by much, right? I mean, I think in general, Seanywolf was consistently in that kind of mid to late 20s range of players who have made it into the top 32 here. So anything could still happen, and that was definitely cleaner last couple of rounds from Sean on frame shift there, managing to not crash out fully, which I think has been the main issue, not necessarily pace, has been going quick off the start line and then just finding spectacular crashes on checkpoints or poles in the middle of maps.
Yep. Well, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, Sean could hold on here. Poles is not... It's not a super difficult map. Once again, the main kind of sticking point is that first drift into outside dirt. That is where you can gain, I would say, upwards of a second if you get that, like, perfect. You nail it. And then the rest of the map... Yeah, it's not too bad, really. It's just about getting the drifts right, maybe having to release slightly on particularly the last turn, because you start off tight, but you do drift quite far out wide, which is where you want to be, but obviously not in the wall, because that is significantly slower than the optimal line. I'm interested to see how the players perform. I'm expecting a Louis masterclass once again, because it doesn't seem like he is capable of anything other than that. I'm
expecting Louis to just lose 3 more rounds in a row now. I mean, mental just in the gutter after a single 10-point loss. It's all over.
I want to see who wins between Sean and Monochrome, though. And I think the first round could possibly decide it, to be honest with you. Monochrome, I don't know how well trained he is on this map. Once again, he finds himself at the back of the field, but coming forward slightly. Sean actually in the lead, which is exactly where he wants to be. So can maybe save a little bit here. He's got through the harder sections of the map and the sections where you can gain the most amount of time. And he is still, as you say, cruising on through. All players following in suit, not too far behind. So a mistake could spell disaster, because it would drop him straight from first all the way down to fourth. But probably his best round so far on any map, extending the lead even further here. Just has to not clip, make that finish, and he will stay alive. Monochrome in third will be dropping down onto last chance, but a fantastic time from Sean there, making a statement. He might be on last chance, but he is definitely alive and kicking.
Objectively, I think from a pure spectator, unbiased point of view, that may have been the best possible outcome on that round, with Idoless in last place, at risk over the next couple of rounds of dropping down to last chance himself. We could see triple last chance. It's not necessarily likely yet, but it's not off the table.
No, I'm wondering what Monochrome. I'm wondering what Monochrome does now, because he has driven like the safe, consistent lines all. Oh, by Sean.
No!
Oh, it looked so good,
like
but it was just a touch. He needs to. He basically needs to pray for a mistake at this point. It's too much time to make up towards the end of the map. You've got this very awkward little thing here. Monochrome has an awkward line, and he's going to go quite high up. Actually carries good speed through it. So Sean has to pray someone misses the finish here, or just clips a hole or something. But it's not looking likely. Everyone getting through. Louis with a bit of an awkward jump, but he's going to make it. And Sean goes from first in the last round to fourth in this one, and will be the first player in this match to drop out.
Yeah, I mean, was a great effort on the comeback as well. Stayed alive for longer than it looked like he had any right to, but ultimately will be eliminated. Monochrome still sitting on last chance, and now Idoless is going to be breathing a little bit more comfortably, right? I mean, just a single player behind you on last chance, I think, does make it feel a little bit safer. You just need to win one more round. You just need Monochrome to make a crash like that, but Idoless crashed at the same time. Idoless had his destiny in his own hands, but it was only there for the briefest of moments, for a split second, before he crashed out as well. He has managed to regain the lead over Monochrome. The reset coming through a little bit quicker, and that means Monochrome on the chase. Idoless just looking to stay safe. It's on Idoless not to crash, to knock Monochrome out now.
Oh, but Monochrome's got a big crash of his own there. And I think that could be Monochrome out. And also, I feel like we could be deciding this match. Idoless will be staying alive, but I can't see him beating Louis, who has been an absolutely exceptional form. He's even going for the safe finish here. Oh, it's a 10th on the line. Oh, my word, Louis, what are you doing?
That is fully the equivalent to like a taunt in Super Smash Bros. Or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That is wild decision making there from Louis to go safe finish. But look, he's still at 65 points. I guess he can do whatever he wants. There's not much I can complain about.
No, I mean, is there any way mathematically? Well, yes, there is a way mathematically that Louis could lose this, but I'm trying to work it out.
Put it this way: if Idoless, okay, sure, that'll help. If Idoless wins the next 7 rounds in a row, then Louis will be on last chance at that point. Idoless will be on last chance after 4 of those rounds. After 3 of those rounds, excuse me. So he would need to win 7 rounds back to back, including this one, of which he will be on last chance for 4 of them.
Yeah. Easy. Just don't crash, forehead.
Yeah. I guess he could lose one before he drops that. Like, he could lose the next one and not be on last chance, but that just means he has to win more back to back on last chance.
Can I throw something in there though?
Do
you remember what happened on Candy Crush, where Louis didn't lose any more than 5 points? I do remember
that. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
It's going to make things a little bit harder, probably, yeah, for Idoless to pull off the 6 round now in a row win streak in order to do this. But look, he's got a lead of 0.008 of a second. It's done. No, Louis back in front. Never mind.
Well, that's an awkward line for Louis, though, and he's going to have to try and rescue this somehow. Idoless. Oh, they both crashed.
What are you doing, boys?
I mean, that is so easy to crash because if you don't full send that inside there, you end up so wide on the grass. So the optimum line is literally to be as few pixels as possible away from that wall. But we still have a battle on our hands despite that crash. It's going to be a slow round overall, but you wouldn't know it because the players are neck and neck right now. Louis with a big crash, though. Idoless.
5 more rounds.
5 more rounds. 5 more rounds is all Idoless needs.
All right, Idoless goes for the safe finish here, right? You flex back the other direction. Oh, you could have put that's how you put Louis' mental in the mud, was go for the safe finish that round. Oh boy.
I don't want to call it a throw because he still has 55 points. He's not throwing yet. Oh, God.
That's true. Now, this round, it doesn't matter if Idoless loses or wins. It does not change the calculations. So this first round is a wash.
Yeah. Imagine you just DNFs.
Yeah. Is it 5 rounds? Is it 6? No, it's 6 rounds in a row, right? Yeah. It is 6 rounds because it's
maybe
5 rounds to put him on finalist. Yeah. And then 1 round on finalist where you also have to win that one in order to beat him. So it is still 6 rounds in a row, but this one is actually a wash because either way, Louis ends up on last chance this round, whatever happens. And either way, Louis will drop below 40. And from there, you just need to beat him multiple times. So this round, this is the last round. This is the final round that you're allowed to lose if you're Idoless.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for his mental, he probably wants to win it.
True.
But
true.
in terms of probabilities, that then makes the likelihood of him winning the next 6 more unlikely.
Yeah, it will be. So it's this round doesn't matter, and then it's 5 wins in a row. That's final answer. That's how it works.
Okay.
I've locked it in. That's how it goes.
Do you want to phone a friend? Ask the audience?
It's just there's a lot of moving parts here, by what you mean 2 cars losing fixed amount of points in every round. Okay?
Yeah, right.
It's not that complicated, but I have managed to work it out eventually, and that is how it goes. And we will get underway. It's going to be back on Candy Crush for this one, and as you say, last time around, Louis looked fairly unstoppable.
Yep, he did. We'll see if it's the same story this time. I feel like Idoless now has actually kind of found his footing a bit. I mean, he's got 2 round wins under his belt. Louis is monk steer right now over the plastic, but has managed to find a way back up towards Idol as they go into this first drift. Both of them going to be avoiding the hole, and it's only a 10th between them at the moment. As we go onto this dirt, Idol with a bit of a touch on the inside there, going to allow Louis to extend his lead slightly. But yeah, we can once again see Louis. That pace is showing. Is he going to touch the outside here? Oh, not quite. He was very close, pushing very hard. But yeah, as you say, this round isn't going to determine a whole lot. Idoless is going to have more speed onto the plastic, but that might mean he eats the gear, as it's a bit difficult to maintain that. Idoless is pushing like hell, though. Ooh. But unfortunately for him, Louis going to win this round. 57.3. That is exactly the time that Louis was driving in rounds earlier. And Idoless was, you could see him pushing. He was minus 2/10 there.
Good luck times 5, says Idoless. Needs to win 5 rounds. 4 of them would have to be here on Candy Crush, where Louis has looked just dominant so far. 57 threes have been the name of the game all evening long for Louis here. And Idoless will now be trying to chase it. That's a mistake from Louis. This could be round 1. Don't say it's over yet, but that is a dominant lead for Idoless. Is up 7/10.
7/10, but that is rapidly decreasing. He's hit a bump there as well. Louis now back within only 4 in the space of as many corners. Onto the grass. I feel like Louis has more pace in the end as well. Idoless is driving over all of the bumps here. The gap, it's closing. Idoless needs to hold on. The drift, you can see Louis pushing it. He's going to have more speed on the exit as well. But the gap starting to stabilize at this point. Idoless makes it through the checkpoint cleanly. It's all going to come down to the finish. Louis has slightly more speed, but I don't think he's going to snipe it away. Idoless makes it through, survives another round. Louis with a -10. How long can it continue, Noah?
Well, by definition, for at most 4 more rounds, but you have to feel, I mean, at some point Louis just has a round without a mistake, but every round that there is a mistake in, every time it gets a little bit closer to that impossible comeback happening, the more that's going to weigh on you a little bit, the harder it gets to just focus up and get 1 more round win out of it. Louis, I think he needs to maybe do it over the next couple of rounds, or things actually start to feel like, in some ways, they're Idoless favored.
Yeah, and Idoless seems to be driving well now. He really, really does have the bit between his teeth, and he's driving a similar pace to Louis, who goes full inside there. Look at the risk that Louis is taking. Goes much higher on the grass, comes back with more speed, overtakes in the uphill, neither touching, neither losing the gear as we go into the sausage drift now. Idoless taking a high line, might have to release slightly. He's all over the place, almost clipping the inside wall. It's so close. It's all going to be down to the risky finish. Idol needs to full send it. He might have the speed, but it doesn't look like it. Louis over the line, takes first place. What a round.
What a time.
That was crazy. 57-1. Idol is driving within 500ths. What a match.
That is, I think, Idoless's best round of the match on Candy Crush as well. Fully pushed it, and Louis fends him off for 57.174 as well. Spectacular finish, you know? I mean, that was absolutely everything you'd hope for. It did look at the start of the match like Louis was completely running away with it, and the scoreboard will kind of still show that that was the case. That is still one of the most dominant finishes I think we'll see over the course of our first round of matches here in the British and Irish Professional Cup. But Idoless did make him work at the end, and it started to feel like it might slip away, forcing Louis to drive, I think, his his best time of the map on the final round is it's impressive. That's forcing your opponent to level up in order to beat you is always, it feels not good, but at least it feels like you gave it everything you could.
Yeah, I think that shows as well that Louis actually had more to give, but he was just restraining slightly just for the sake of consistency. But then when it really mattered and he knew that things were starting to get a little bit hot under the collar for him, he gave that little bit more, pushed it, and drove maybe 0.2 faster than his regular pace. And that was just too much for Idol to handle. But Idol did so well to hang on and actually almost turn the tide. Like we kind of just said, oh, it's impossible. He's on 50+ points, but Idol almost started to make it believable. So
of
huge
the
props
like
to him.
7 round wins that he needed,
Yeah.
he picked up like 3 or 4 of them.
3 or 4, yeah.
Which is
He will stay alive in the lower bracket as well.
Yeah, both of those players, I think, going to be threats to anyone who comes into that lower bracket, whether it's from the upper bracket or if they're joining them from another lower bracket match. But I think for the last time tonight, we're going to try and get Pac in here for a little bit of a conversation about how day 1 of the British and Irish Pro Cup 2 has gone. Pac, are you with us? Nope. Well,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
I'm
Yeah.
here.
That was perfect
so
because there
weird.
was the delay, and also we have got Pac live reaction as our new image for you.
Oh god.
It's worked out flawlessly. Pac, that was a close match, and like I said in the final couple of rounds, I think if Idoless had picked up one more win in that final round there, it starts to feel like, despite Idoless being the one on last chance, that maybe it's Idoless favored over the last few rounds. Like, he's got the momentum behind him.
Yeah, so it starts to get a bit nerve-wracking if you're Louis, because like it just like
Just need one win, but you can't
you
get
just
it.
need one more win. You've been winning all match. Like it's just difficult at that point. But I mean, obviously clutching it out, close round to finish it off. I mean, it's just what you want in a match like that.
Very impressive. Orion, you've put on the glasses. You are ready to go. I can't tell if your camera has also frozen or if you're just sitting very, very still.
Really still.
Okay. I was like, I genuinely cannot tell if you've somehow frozen your camera.
That's perfect then. That gag worked exactly as I hoped. Oh dear. Yeah, what did you think of our upcoming talent in British Irish Trackmania? Were you impressed, given that is like the lower half of what has made it through into this playoffs? Like Louis especially was absolutely insane those first couple of maps.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see. It really is nice to see Louis really coming through and just shining there. Like, how many? What is he? He only drops what, like 15 points in the first 2 maps?
Yeah.
Like,
14,
it's outrageous.
Yeah.
It's just
That was
outrageous to
across
do that.
10 rounds, Louis won 8 and came second twice.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a strong performance. That I mean, yeah, no, it's good to see it, and I think Idoless as well, showing at the end there that really pushing it when you need to. He's close to Louis, so it is good.
Yeah, and well, speaking of Louis, we do have him sitting ready to go, and we're going to drag him in for a quick interview. Louis, congratulations on a win that was very dominant to begin with, and then maybe got, I'm going to say, nervy towards the last few rounds.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say dominant was a thing. I think I was just driving my times.
My brother in Christ, you won 8 rounds out of the first 10. What do you mean not dominant?
It was... There was some luck involved. There's a couple of mistakes, a couple of safe wins. Yeah, the end. I mean, the end always gets closer in Reverse Cup when you've got, points differentials becoming large. Points minuses becoming larger. I was unfortunate to get hit with a couple of annoying clips near the end, but yeah, it was a fun match. I mean, it's fun. It was a fun match in multiple ways because obviously 3 teammates all in the same match is going to be pretty hilarious to play with. And Mono's excellent. I think it was a very, very fun game.
Do you think that match was like before you went into the match? Did you think it was quite even, or was there someone that you thought, they might have good pace on this map, or overall? Like, was there anyone you had your eye on as a potential kind of contender, or were you thinking everyone is pretty similarly matched here?
I think everyone's pretty similarly matched. Idol's amazing in rounds generally. I think he just had a bit of a bad couple of first maps.
Yeah.
But he's generally really, really solid in rounds, and to be honest, was almost not even in the loser bracket to begin with. So
Oh, right. Okay.
he only lost to Chris by like 3 points, by like a couple of hundredths on his match. So I was fully expecting him to just walk it.
Right.
I am usually not that consistent. I am very, very scattergun. So I was not going to lie, fully expected to be right in the mud in like fighting for second. So yeah, it was a nice surprise.
Given that you've mentioned there as well that Idoless had a rough first couple of maps, you are now going to be the rest of your British and Irish Pro Cup 2 in this losers bracket. You do move on in it, you have the chance to go deeper, but that does mean, I believe, that this map order is locked in. This is how you are going to have to play them, which means Candy Crush and Hoga first every single match, which I don't know how you feel about that. That's a tough way to start off any match. It could, as you say, leave some people in a tough position a lot of the time.
I mean, it should have left me in a tough position. They're my worst maps. So
Wait, what?
yeah, easily. The
No
maps
shot.
I'm the least consistent and least lowest pace on. So
What the hell?
yeah, it's going to be fun going forwards. At least I know that I'm going to start in the mud and get better, but hopefully
No, I've been told I'm absolutely wrong. That is this is the admins have all jumped in to tell me that I'm wrong, but actually that's just clearly a problem with how they've labeled it on the spreadsheet. Then,
yeah,
okay,
blame
I'm
the
just saying
admins.
that's
Yeah.
honestly, I'm here and I have a platform, so I can say whatever I want. That's yeah, no, so that's fair enough. It will be random every time around. I was just looking at the bracket, thought that it was implying that the losers bracket was always the same, but that is still surprising to hear that those you felt were your worst two maps coming into this match, because they went very well.
Yeah, really surprisingly well. Candy Crush in seeding was a nightmare. I think I had like 2 good runs on it total.
Out
and
of
the rest
8, yeah.
out of 8. And Hoga was similarly bad. I think I only had 157 on Hoga in seeding. A couple of 58s, and then the rest were all terrible.
Did you move up or down following the seeding event? Like,
Down by like 8 places.
oh wow, okay, so didn't feel as comfortable on rounds as you did on time attack then, but
No, which
obviously-
is annoying because I'd done a lot of rounds practice the last couple of days, and I was feeling okay, but I think it was just, I missed the BIPL seeding, so I didn't have the kind of practice of doing that sort of seeding.
Yeah.
So I'll know that going forward. That's fine. But yeah, it was good to. I think as well, first match of the day always goes badly for me, so perhaps that played into it too.
That's going to make things a little bit difficult as well now, given that you are in the lower bracket. There is no first match of the day anymore that can go badly without sending you out of the competition.
Yeah, well, luckily I've got Naya next, so knowing his rounds potential, he's either going to absolutely dominate or completely fail, and I'm probably similar, so it could be quite a fun match. We might have another double elim on the same round again.
I'm waiting for that triple. I'm waiting for the triple last chance. It's got to show up eventually
at some point. Yeah,
It will happen.
surely. I think generally I look at who's coming into my game from the upper bracket, and that's probably realistically as far as I'm going to go, because it's really good people that are in those matches in the upper bracket. But it'll be fun to give it a try. If I play a bit like I did in the first few rounds today, then I might have a chance, but I think the pace is still off by a couple of tenths, so it might be a challenge.
Time to improve now anyway. A week until the next matches are played on this one. Pack, anything to jump in? Any questions that you have here while we're talking about the lower bracket in particular?
I don't know. I think what's your goal to work on then, Louis? To be fair, what do you want to get more speed, get faster to fight off Naya when he comes down to play you, or what's the goal there?
I think I need a couple of tenths on basically all the maps, and so kind of raw pace, and then also translate that into rounds pace, because it's no point getting 2 tenths on pure pace and then making errors half the time. Yeah. So I think it's probably more just consistency for me, especially when things start getting a bit closer. Obviously, everyone struggles a little bit with nerves when it gets a bit closer.
Definitely.
So I think I've got a good practice of that today. So hopefully that'll translate to next week. But I think it's mostly just cracking the maps, just getting more affinity with the maps. So yeah. That's all I'm really looking for.
It's crazy how much match experience helps you get better. Like, so for instance, winning that match, like, I mean, that's going to put you through a lot of confidence for next week as well. So it always helps.
Yeah, guaranteed. Like, seeing that I can put that sort of start together is really, really nice, because it's not something I've been able to do in the past. So definitely gives me a bit of confidence that I can do that again and keep doing that, hopefully. But it'll be a tough match next week for sure, but I've got a week to practice, so you know, I've kind of already got what I was looking for. I was aiming to get into top 24 before we started. I've got that, and now everything else is a bonus. So given that, I'm pretty happy, to be honest.
Easy top 8 and into the money spots, right? That's next step.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Hendo who? He's going down.
Never.
You know, yes, no, that's not good. That sort of lower bracket run isn't going to happen for me. Naya could do that if he pops off. Yeah, I definitely do not have the pace to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So
listen, lots of practice to be done.
Yeah, we'll see.
I really like the point that you brought up there, Pat, because I think it's something that gets talked about a lot in kind of other sports and stuff as well, which is that you need experience winning if you want to be a winner in anything, right? It's that just having the pace, if you don't have the experience holding on at the top of a match and actually, you know, managing to play under those nerves, you're not going to be able to carry it through to a win, even when it really feels like you should sometimes.
Definitely, I say, yeah. It's so important to have the matches where you actually can win, and then go into another one thinking, well, I've done it before, just need to try and do it again.
That's why Solary, that's why you guys win. You know, you're just you've got much more practice on it than anyone else in Grand League. That it just makes sense.
That's just outrageous.
Well, I think we're pretty much wrapping up our broadcast for the day here then as well, unless there's anything anyone feels like they need to throw in a final word. Looking across the screen here. Sounds good. Thank you very much for joining us here on the broadcast, Comrade Louis, for an interview. Very interesting to hear from you, and of course, best of luck in your match next week as you move forward in that lower bracket.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And Pac, of course, then thank you for joining us today for a little bit of a conversation about this. I mean, overall thoughts at the end of the first day, thoughts on the maps, how things have been looking. I mean, they're obviously they're all very pretty. You know, that's the main thing.
Really nice maps. I kind of gutted I didn't actually get to play these. These are really nice. They're very well put together. I just can't wait to see the tournament progress and see, like, you know, more from, like, I guess the final. I'm really hoping I can catch a glimpse of it as well. Next weekend is quite a busy one for me, but I will try and tune into the final at least, because that's just going to be wicked just to see someone else be crowned that UK and Irish top dog.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you'll have to come back at some point and put them back into their place, but this competition will not be that competition. We have a few players left who will be fighting that one out. All the action does continue next weekend for the British and Irish Pro Cup 2. Prospects will be on tomorrow. We will not be streaming that, at least as far as I know, but there should be some player POVs floating around the place, so keep an eye, as always, on the Discord server. Thank you very much for joining us this week, and if you're not part of that Discord server, make sure you come and join the community. We'd love to have you, and we'll see you back here next time.